For those who have just joined us, good evening, and thank you so much for
It's
joining us at SEA Focus 2021 Gallery Webinar Series, where we invite participating exhibitors to present a live digital event to our audiences. For our second gallery webinar this evening, we have with us Bangkok-based gallery Nova Contemporary, established in 2016, who aim to cultivate the reciprocal exchange of contemporary art and culture across Southeast Asia and beyond. With a focus on exceptional Thai artists, both established and emerging, they raise awareness and interest in the diversity and dynamism of the region's contemporary art scene. I will now hand over the time to Nova Contemporary for the live event.
Hello, everyone. This is Kawita. I wonder if anyone can hear me or if I'm on the huge screen yet.
Yes, you are.
I am, okay. So I'm Kawita, and I'm currently within this is my outdoor studio in Bangkok. And I'm a video and performance artist exhibiting as part of this edition of SEA Focus. And thank you so much for having me. And I'm being represented by Nova Contemporary, which is representing me within this exhibition. So first of all, I have some presentation in which I'm going to talk about the works which is exhibiting in both online and offline platforms in within the exhibition right now. So I'm just gonna share screen. Okay, so hopefully this will share the screen. Okay, sorry for the wait. Okay, so this work here is the one that is exhibiting at, is my screen being shared? Okay, it's called Carrier, and Carrier is as part of my Splash series. So my work from 2017 until 2020, which 2021, is focusing on labor work, and I'm focusing on the human conditions now, how we are valued. We are valued by our action, our work, and our labor, and how everyone is valued by their work and labor. In here, I'm talking about not just our own labor, our own work, but talking about the laborers who are behind the mass production, behind the fast consumption within the current world of capitalism, based on the current materialism and consumerism. I'm talking about the laborers who are working repetitively as tools or as machines, and who are usually being treated as continuing working machines, or in other words, being sort of dehumanized into objects. So in the work that is, in the video work that is currently exhibiting, which is called Carrier, it's about how the human body within the fishing industry is sort of turned into a large fishing net. And the blue background sort of indicates the deep blue sea. So in this work here, the human net, or the human body, or the human net, which is myself as the net, is carrying the fish, or in this case, I have the saltwater fish in the sea. So the huge net is carrying the fish within the sea, up and down, continuing in a loop, and nonstop, in an infinite continuing loop, from the deep sea into the shore, into the boat. And so the body is being objectified as a working machine. this work here was first exhibiting as part of the Splash series, in which I exhibited first at Nova Contemporary Gallery. And if you see this one here, the human body is turned into the fish itself, being dehumanized into the fish itself. And when the hook is sort of being, the mouth of the human body or my body is sort of being hooked and going up and down from from the sea. This work here is talking about how we are all, as as consumers, are unaware of what's what's going on without what we can see, because it's happening within the sea, outside of the land, outside of our shore, and it's in the middle of nowhere. And it's outside of the laws and policies and what the current laws and policies can sort of enter. I'm going to also show you the presentation on so as yesterday we had a live performance, a virtual live performance, which was called Knit, which was my about 30 to 45 minutes, and sometimes up to 1 hour of performance, in which I traveled in different countries to perform that work live. But before that, I'm going to talk about the background of that work and how I came to perform live within that work, in which here I'm talking about, the series of work, which is called Performing Textiles. So in the work called Performing Textiles is where I sort of turned my own body into a human machine within the factories. And in this case, Performing Textiles is talking about the fashion industry, the fast fashion industry, or the textile industry, fast textile industry, which around 85 to 89% of women workers are working within that industry, and it's the industry that exploit the laborers the most. So what I do with the research is that I went to many factories in Southeast Asia, so and in India as well. So for example, I went to a lot of textile factories and garment factories in Bangkok and interviewed the owners and the laborers who are working repetitively and talking about a sustainable and more ethical way to fix the current problem of labor exploitation, which there's so many problems within, as you know, in India, in Bangladesh. So on the down bottom here, I went to India, and it's in Bangalore, where there was a protest at that time. So the protest at that time is how the garment workers were protesting. And there's this one sign that says, are we machines? And I realized that, I should talk to them and how they feel that they're being treated or they're being seen as machines. And I think by being there, being within my research by myself, and I was in India for about 1 month, and directly speaking to them, I wish that I could sort of translate their feelings, their emotions, within my my own interpretations into the work, because the voices are usually being muted. And I think that art is a soft power to sort of put the lights on their voices. So starting with As you saw in my research, there's a factory which is filled with the spinning wheels. And in this case, I translated as, a human body into a machine. And in this case, is the spinning wheel. And as you can see, the human is sort of being spun and spinning from the cotton or from the wool into yarn. And as you can see on the bottom here, there's this large needle, which is the key of the spinning wheel. And I put the large needles underneath my own body as, the human is working as the machines and has to hold on tight while, being spun for about 5 minutes or so. And I would really have to hold on tight, because if I fall, there's, the large needles that would, that would be dangerous for my body. And it's about fears and insecurities towards the laborers who are being treated as machines. Another work is where, I'm just gonna pause it for a bit. So this is where I went to India to research on the weaving factory and to talk to them. And I sort of turned that research into the work in which is called shuttle. In shuttle, I turned my body into the weaving shuttle, sort of weaving through from right to left, left to right. Sorry about the voice. This is my outdoor studio, and so internet is slow, but as you can see, the human body is sort of ready to jump from left to right, right to left, and in the end, the fabric is sort of being made from the human body. And this is called dye. So the same, the human hair is sort of being replaced by the yarns, by the cotton yarns, and sort of being pushed up and down, up and down. The human face is sort of being pressured and forced into the red dye, while the yarn, that is, the hair replacement, is being dyed with red coloring. And this work is about 10 minutes. I'm just gonna forward towards the end, where you will see that that you will see that now that the red is kind of being, the yarns are being absorbed with the red dye. What I really want to talk about is the knitting machine. When I went to a factory in Bangkok, I saw this knitting machine with this needle that is in the middle of the machine, and the needle is sort of going around in a circle very, very fast in order to knit the red circular fabric. And I think that, by being that needle must be a very, very hard work, and would showcase how how difficult and how physically and mentally exhausting it is to be seen or to be treated or to be dehumanized as the machine. And I thought of the live performance. I'm going to show you this one first, and going to go back to what you saw as the spider. I think that, you know, not only by being a needle, but this circular shape is sort of looks like the story that reminds me about the weaver or the knitter who was turned into a spider, and she was called Arachne, and she was turned into the spider by Athena, the Greek god, because of how she showcased her skill and how she didn't obey or because she wants all the credits to be from her and not credit others who didn't work for her, and so she was punished by turning into the spider. And so in this case, I am a needle within that machine, but I am also Arachne, who is now turned into the spider. You might have seen this already yesterday, but I'm going to show you just a glimpse of this performance. Okay, just gonna fast forward to the very, very end. As you see now, that the spider is finishing its net, the spider is finishing its web, and the knitting machine is already going to finish its job. There's another work that is very, very inspired by the previous series that I talked about, which was forming textiles, which is called field work. So field work is when I was thinking, okay, the people who are working behind closed doors within the factories, who are not seen, because in the factories there are no windows, no doors, that like very closed doors, no windows, that you can't see from the outside, so you don't know what's happening, what's being exploited within the inside. But what about field work? What about the work that is right in front of your eye? What about the laborers who are working right in front of your eye? What's happening to that? In the fashion industry, there's not only the works that are being done within the factory, but also before that process. So I'm interested in what's happening before that process as well, which is the work within the fields, or the agriculture work behind the mass production. As in my research, I heard that in India there are very, very high rates of suicide. About in only one state is about 7,000 farmers, cotton farmers, who are committing suicides because of the mass production, which is unstoppable. So I went to India for 1 month and to stay with the farmers and different farmers, and just changing different homestays, I would call, to really understand what's behind their issues, what's behind their problems, why is it such a difficult and to continue to live? Why do they decide to commit suicide, especially by drinking pesticides? Is that a statement for the current problem within the current capitalism, which is exploiting them. So I went there and within the the cotton factories, the cotton farmers, the cotton farms, and spoke to the workers. And what really I think struck me was the fact that the workers within the cotton fields are all women. They were all women, and as you can see in the photos in the picture in the middle, they're having lunch within the cotton fields. I spoke to the organizations of the cotton farmers in India, and sort of finding ways in order to fix the problems. What are they are doing to make things better from the current conflicts, the current societal rates, and how what are the solutions, the possible solutions that could be could fix the problems. When I came to Thailand, in India, not only the cotton farm, they said that, you are wrong, because not only the cotton farmers are being, I think, affected by the mass production, especially with, the current scientific developed GMO seeds, such as BT cotton, but also other agriculture fields as well. So you should really research on that in India. So I went to the rice farms in India to research about that as well. When I came back to Thailand, I realized that I should do the same trip as what I did in India. So I went to visit many rice farmers and did the homestay trips in which I stayed within the farmers' houses and to learn about their problems and how and very similar problems to the workers within the factory, the workers within the sea. They are being treated as non-human. They're being dehumanized into a capitalism world machines. And so this leads to the work that is very important to me, and it's also exhibiting at S.E.A, which is called the spade. So in the spade, I act as the spade or the shovel, in which I turn myself not only into any object, but a very sharp object, a very heavy duty object, and just using my bare hands to sort of adjusting the soil, creating the hole, keep adjusting the soil before you put the seeds in. And on the right hand side, this is my draft idea. And the other work, which is called Plow, I don't know if I have enough time to show the video, but if I have enough time, I'll show you the video of Plow and the spade as well. But for Plow, I act as both the machine or the animal that is dragging the plow, and my face is turned into the plow, which sort of drag all the soil to adjust the soil with just my bare hand, my bare face. And I think that by turning my own body into a sharp, heavy duty machine or a tool within the agriculture is sort of pushing further my limitations of what I can do as a performance artist, because it's my hands would end up with a lot of blood in the end, because that work was a very long, I think, long duration, around almost 10 minutes of just digging the soil and turn into the machine, and with just my bare hands, and the soil are not soft at all. In this work here, it's called sickle, in which I turn myself into the sickle, and it's again turning yourself into a very sharp, heavy duty tool. I would love to show you how my studio can be transformed into, different settings. For example, I would love to show you this one. Before showing, I'm going to explain that, as you saw, my current studio is currently transformed into an architecture household, a very housey like space. But when I was doing my field work, which is still continuing series, it was turned into a rice farm, a rice field. So as you can see, before the rice are being grown by me, I wanted to try to be a farmer myself in order to really. I know that it's not what I would fully understand, but only a glimpse of what it would be to grow your own rice. And in the beginning, it was just like I was received only like a very tiny plants of rice, and then until the rice are grown, and this is how the rice are fully grown. I'm just gonna come back to. Okay, so I guess that we only have around a few minutes left. If anyone has any questions or anything about the talk, please do feel free to to throw some questions. Okay. So the first question is from Duria. It said, "Of your performance are physically challenging. How do you prepare for them?" So usually I would prepare for around, I think, 2 or 3 weeks, and just practice that performance. And I think that the body has an amazing ability to endure and adjust. So every time that I perform, first I would feel like I can't do it, but then the next time I would be able to do it better, until for about 2 or 3 weeks that I would fully could really do it. For example, there's a work that for the spinning wheel, before I had all those needles down, I would fall so many times, and I would fall on the ground, but with safety, of course. But until I was sure that I wouldn't fall, that I would take the safety out and then replace the safety with the danger settings, like the needles, the large needles underneath. So that's the preparation. Another one is, very beautiful and meaningful work. What are your wishes for the future of your practice? Well, I'm just in the beginning of my fieldwork series, in which I really, really want to create this series for about 2 years or 3 years and go deep down into research. And because I think that the problem is not only about the laborers who are being exploited, but as I research, there's so many problems related, such as the GMO seeds, the chemicals, which is and environmental problems which is related to the topic. Okay, from another question. I have been looking at your scale of justice. Can you explain your philosophy and basis for this work? Ditto for your state work. Okay, so the scale of justice is, well, actually, all of my family members are actually lawyers and judges. And so I have the scale of justice, the sculptures of the scales of justice everywhere in my house. And I think that every conversations within our dinner tables are about their cases and how they would like to solve the cases. For example, my aunt is an attorney and she works with directly with human trafficking and labor exploitation in Thailand. And I think that for example, the scale of justice is a symbol of justice, but my scale of justice is never equal. Being I hung a large basket on my neck, which is the most vulnerable part of my body, and another one on my legs, on my feet actually, and the people were throwing the vegetables. I'm sorry about my dogs. The vegetables onto the scale, and it's never equal. And I think that it's I think I'm questioning fairness. I'm questioning equality and equity within the current world of capitalism within that work. Okay. Well, thank you so much. There's so many other questions that, but I will be willing to type the answer after the sessions because I'm running out of time right now. But thank you so very, very much for attending my artist talk, and well, hopefully you have seen some works and maybe understand a little bit more about my background of my practice. And yeah, thank you very much for having me, and it's honored to be a part of C Focus. And thank you, Nova Contemporary, for representing me this time. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Kawita, for your incredible insight into your work.
Thank you so much. And I'm sorry about, all the noises of the crows and birds and other animals within my house. My studio is outdoor because, well, I think I usually turned it into, different settings such as farms, rice fields, or, like soil space. And so it's just been, I have to reconstruct it every time. So it has to be outdoor, and so there so many voices.
No worries at all. It feels very organic.
Hopefully it doesn't distract you too much.
No, that's totally fine. Okay, thank you so much, Kawita, and thank you so much for Nova Contemporary. Our gallery webinar series continues tomorrow on the 22nd of January at 6:30 p.m. with a presentation from the Columns Gallery featuring works by Yoichi Kyo. For more information and to register for tomorrow's webinars, please visit our website at cfocus.sg. Thank you again for joining us.